Hello, Adrian.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing really well. So, this idea of people trying to find a new vendor on YouTube, and they always trying to find reviews, testing, Gardener, other magical tools. You've been in this world for the last couple of months, or even probably much, much more. What does it mean? What do you mean by testing equipment, testing vendor?
So, generally when you say testing in the realm of cybersecurity, like there's been AV testing forever, right? But it's heavily focused on performance, and every other industry seems to have this. Like if I want to buy an app for $1, if I want to spend $1, I can find 1,000 reviews to find out if it's a good use of my $1. But if I want to spend $1 million, I can't find any good reviews. So it seems like a crazy problem. And back when I used to buy security products, it was just trial and error. Maybe somebody tells you, "Hey, this is a great app." Like I've used it. Generally, that's all we've got is word of mouth. Somebody's very, very happy with a product, and you buy that product. But almost nobody has time. Like, look at the EDR landscape or SASE landscape. Like, who has time to do even two or three POCs on different vendors'
People
products?
are trying, but we need use cases. We need to know what
Yeah.
to test. We need to understand how
How do
people are
I
going to
test it?
use it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so in the tests I do, they're not as much focused on the performance of the product because that can be very subjective depending on which of the 1,000 features in SASE the company is interested in. For example, like everybody's interested in different things. Even when I go to shop for a headset, I go to New York Times bought a company called the Wire Cutter, which does very, very good reviews on everything from pillows to headsets to smartphones. And I was annoyed because the most important feature to me is to be able to mute while I'm on a conference call because I'm walking around. Yeah, nice, nice taste. Um, and when they reviewed Office headsets, not even a mention of mute buttons on the headset. Because I'll be washing dishes and somebody will ask me a question. I need to come off of mute. I don't want to have to run, halfway across the
Don't
living
tell,
room.
don't people all the secrets how we do
Yeah.
meetings.
Well, that's it. That's it. That's how we do meetings. So, I mean, it's a great example of, where you have to really understand.
So you have to be a practitioner. You have to be a user.
Yeah. You need that background. You need to understand where the pain points are. And a lot of it is just implementation, just getting the product up and running can
So
be
if
so
somebody
challenging.
asks you, Adrian, we want to test a new vendor or new segment of vendors, and you
Mhm.
potentially never work with this vendor, what's your approach? What do you actually do? What do you do in the research perspective?
So generally we set the calendar. We put together the calendar and don't call us, we'll call you. For the most part, the original idea, and a lot of this just has to do with how quickly I can build this team. Right now, it's just me for the most part, and Paul Asadorian is doing some of the work on the open source side. So when we do these group reviews, we consider open source products as well because buyers are also considering DIY approaches and open source products in some of these categories. But the idea was we were going to do individual reviews too. So we actually have a form that somebody can go fill out to request a product review. And then we kind of a first come first serve type of thing. We get back in touch with them, but we haven't actually done any of those yet because it's so labor intensive just to do the group reviews because we've got to pull all these in, put them into our lab, come up with a methodology for the testing, do the testing, and then do all these write-ups. And typically most of my write-ups have been between 1,500 and 2,000 words. So by the end of the month, if I'm testing, 10 to a dozen products, I'm writing a quarter of a novel a month. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of writing.
Any action books? Maybe you need to switch to action books or thrillers in the vendor community.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the big problems. Like, we actually had EDR on the calendar, and I took it off because it's just too many
So you,
vendors.
yeah, you mentioned mute button, for example. It's mean you as a user, you use mute. I actually use mute as well. So you're gonna test a new vendor segment, for example. How would you figure out which use cases to check? Because it's your knowledge, Paul knowledge, maybe somebody else's knowledge. And what happened if you decide on 20, 50 different use cases, but the vendor told you, oh, but make sure you test XYZ.
Yeah. So right now, we're going off our own experience. We do talk to some people before we put together the methodology and the use cases. The original idea was to send out a survey, post it on LinkedIn, post it on Twitter, say, hey, fill this out. Tell us what you want to see in this review. What's the most important for us to test? What vendors are most important to you that we should make sure we don't miss? And what use cases, do you want to see us test? But again, it's so much work to put these together, like the way I want to do it and what I have to do to actually get the reviews done, are still two different things right now. So I've had to cut out some of those things. So we're not doing the surveys yet, but I still want to do that.
Do you guys share the use cases later on with the community?
Yeah, I mean, all that's published. So when we publish a group review, we publish an overview, which is kind of a description of the market, kind of the state of the market, especially if it's a new category and people don't understand it well, that piece is very important. So that piece is vendor agnostic and just goes through the products, the features, the use cases that we've identified, all that. And then we have a separate methodology document where we go into technically how we did the testing, how we set it up in the lab, and even how we do the math on some of the metrics that we report. So one of the metrics is total cost, and I take labor into account. How many people do you need to run this product? Can they be junior admins? Do they need to be senior? Like what skill level and what salary level are they? So I actually define the salary level that we use for those total cost calculations in the methodology document. And then there's a separate document for each review, for each vendor.
If someone, and we know across North America and Europe, people always testing software and vendors, what would you recommend them? Maybe a couple of bullet points when they need to review an EDR, ASM, CASB, SASE, couple of ideas of change in mindset when they review vendors.
Honestly, time is the biggest issue, and I'm not sure I have any tips. I mean, that's part of the reason I'm doing this is because some of these companies want to have 5-6 meetings before they even give you access to the product. So personally for me, even when I'm reviewing, I tend to gravitate towards the companies that have a free trial where I can start using the product right away. I don't have to interact with somebody, because then I can quickly find out, yes, this is close to what I need, or no, it's completely different. And it's painful to have to go through 6-7 meetings before you get to that point. You realize, like the cost of this product is my entire security budget, or, it's not what I thought it was at all. It doesn't meet any of my needs. So I'm not sure I really have any. I mean, that would be my tip is well, first of all, find people that have owned it, right now, without product reviews. That's your best bet. Get into a community with people that use a lot of products and try and lean on somebody else who's already done the proofs of concepts, who already owns a product in that category. And then look for the ones where you can get a free trial, where you can get up and running, without having to, commit so much time to something that might not meet your needs.
Awesome. Adrian, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you.